The James Smith Cree Nation is a Plains Cree indigenous band government whose reserve is north of Melfort, Saskatchewan, Canada. The First Nation takes its name after Chief James Smith, who signed Treaty 6 at Fort Carlton in 1876. The treaty was an agreement between the British Crown and various indigenous nations to share the land and resources peacefully. The James Smith Cree Nation has a current population of 2,412, with the on-reserve population estimated to be at 1,592 members. The original language spoken is Cree. The James Smith Cree Nation has a long history of struggle for self-determination and sovereignty. The band was originally part of the Red River District of Manitoba, where they faced discrimination and oppression from the colonial government and settlers. They migrated to the area near the Saskatchewan River, where they established their own community and trading post. They were joined by other Cree bands, such as the Chakastapason and the Peter Chapman, who also sought refuge from the violence and injustice of colonization. The James Smith Cree Nation has faced many challenges and conflicts over the years, such as the Northwest Rebellion of 1885, the residential school system, the Indian Act, and the loss of their traditional lands and rights. They have also resisted and advocated for their rights and interests through various legal and political means, such as land claims, treaty negotiations, court cases, and commissions of inquiry. They have also maintained their culture and identity through their ceremonies, languages, traditions, and values. The James Smith Cree Nation is still fighting for their community safety officers, who are trained and certified peacekeepers that provide law enforcement and emergency services to their members. The band has been requesting funding and recognition from the federal and provincial governments for their officers, who are essential for the safety and well-being of their community. The band has also been dealing with the aftermath of a tragic stabbing incident that occurred in September 2022, which claimed the lives of 11 people and injured 18 others. The band has been seeking justice and healing for the victims and their families. The James Smith Cree Nation is a proud and resilient nation that has survived and thrived despite the hardships and obstacles they have faced. They are determined to protect their lands, rights, and people from any threats or violations. They are also committed to improving their social and economic conditions through education, health care, infrastructure, and development. They are a nation that values their history, culture, and identity, as well as their future generations. The role and importance of the community safety officers, CSOs, in providing security, law enforcement, and social services to the community members. The James Smith Cree Nation, JSCN, is one of the many Indigenous communities in Canada that are seeking to establish their own police services. This is because they believe that self-administered policing is more appropriate and effective than relying on the RCMP, who are often located far away and have limited understanding of the local culture and needs. One of the tragic events that motivated this push for First Nations policing was the mass stabbing that occurred on September 4, 2022, when Miles Sanderson killed 6 people and injured 4 others in a rampage that lasted for 40 minutes. The RCMP took too long to respond to the emergency calls, and by the time they arrived, it was too late to prevent more deaths. Chief Wally Burns, the leader of JSCN, said that a First Nations police service would have prevented this tragedy. He said that his community is willing and able to be comfortable with their own policing, and that they have requested funding from the federal government for 3 officers. While they wait for the government to table the legislation that would provide permanent First Nations police funding, JSCN is looking to bring in community safety officers, CSOs, to reassure members and to improve safety. CSOs are not fully fledged police officers, but they have some authority to enforce bylaws and ban laws under updated provincial legislation. They also provide security, law enforcement, and social services to the community members, such as patrolling, responding to calls, mediating disputes, conducting wellness checks, assisting elders, and connecting people with resources. CSOs are trained and certified by the Saskatchewan Police College, and they work closely with the RCMP and other agencies. They are also members of the community themselves, so they have a better understanding of the local issues and challenges. CSOs are not a replacement for a First Nations police service, but they are a step towards it. They fill a vital role in providing protection, prevention, and intervention for JSCN and other Indigenous communities that want to take control of their own safety and well-being. Chief Wally Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, JSCN, has a clear vision for his community to have their own policing service that can respond quickly and effectively to any safety issues. He believes that self-administered policing is more appropriate than relying on the RCMP, who are often too far away to intervene in time. He also thinks that having their own officers will help build trust and confidence among the members, who have been traumatized by the September 4, 2022 massacre that claimed 4 lives and injured 7 others. To achieve this vision, Chief Burns and his leadership team have been working hard to secure funding and support from the federal and provincial governments, as well as other First Nations and agencies. They have requested funding from Ottawa for 3 community safety officers, CSOs, who would be empowered to enforce bylaws and ban laws under updated provincial legislation. They are also looking to collaborate with other First Nations who have similar interests and needs, such as Whitecap Dakota First Nation, which has been running a successful CSO pilot project since 2019. In addition, Chief Burns and his team have been investing in training and equipping their own security personnel, who have been providing round-the-clock surveillance and protection for the community since the tragedy. In April 2023, 35 band members completed a 2-week security training course that covered topics such as conflict resolution, first aid, self-defense, and report writing. The security supervisors and officers are also equipped with radios, body cameras, pepper spray, batons, and handcuffs. Chief Burns hopes that these efforts will not only improve the safety and well-being of his community, but also pave the way for a permanent First Nations police service that will be recognized as an essential service by the federal government. He said he is willing to work with any partners who share his vision and goals, and he is optimistic that his community will soon have the policing they deserve. The Community Safety Officers, CSOs, of James Smith Cree Nation, JSCN, are more than just law enforcers. They are also role models, mentors, and advocates for the community. Since their introduction in 2023, the CSOs have made a significant difference in reducing crime, improving safety, and enhancing well-being in JSCN. According to Chief Wally Burns, the CSOs have helped to prevent further tragedies like the one that occurred on September 4, 2022, when a man with a knife killed 10 people and injured 15 others in a rampage that lasted 40 minutes. The CSOs are able to respond faster and more effectively than the RCMP, who are based 50 kilometers away in Melfort. The CSOs are also trained in cultural sensitivity and trauma-informed practices, which help them to build trust and rapport with the community members. The CSOs have also been involved in various initiatives to promote positive change and social development in JSCN. For example, they have organized youth programs, such as sports, arts, and leadership activities, to provide alternatives to drugs and gangs. They have also collaborated with elders, health workers, and educators to address issues such as mental health, domestic violence, and suicide prevention. The CSOs have also supported the implementation of ban laws and bylaws that reflect the values and traditions of JSCN. The achievements and impacts of the CSOs have been recognized and appreciated by the community. Many people have expressed gratitude and admiration for the CSOs, who risk their lives every day to protect and serve JSCN. Some people have even expressed interest in becoming CSOs themselves, inspired by their example. The CSOs have also received support and praise from other First Nations leaders, who see them as a model for self-administered policing. The CSOs of JSCN are not only providing safety and security for the community, they are also empowering the community to heal from the past, cope with the present, and hope for the future.